In a discreet hotel, the carpet is worn, the curtains closed, and cigar smoke fills the air. Around an oval table, 150 American bankers watch each other in silence. They know their survival is at stake. For 8 years, Mastercard Bank, soon to be Visa, has expanded at a pace alarming Wall Street. Millions of Americans are starting to buy on credit. Bank of America already controls a system that could make cash obsolete. In this room, one thought haunts everyone present. If we let them do this, we will disappear. So, that night, he made a pact. A parallel network, a counteroffensive, a banking cartel to resist the enemy. This pact is a red and yellow logo coming together, symbolizing a fragile coalition born out of fear, but one that would become one of the most powerful emblems of modern capitalism. Mastercard. How did 150 desperate banks form one of the few empires able to challenge Visa? How did Mastercard build a 5.9 trillion empire of wisdom while still being number 2? And above all, will the company survive in a world where countries like France, Russia, and China are creating their own networks? Africa is developing alternatives never seen elsewhere, and where cryptocurrencies dream of eliminating all intermediaries. Hi, entrepreneur mindset. I hope you're doing well. Today, following our Visa episode, we explore Mastercard's lesser-known history. I know you've been waiting for it, but this story isn't an economic success story. It's about secret pacts, strategic survival, and an illegitimate child of capitalism born out of fear and mistrust. Here we go. Downtown cafe. A local banker is reading his newspaper. A headline catches his eye. Mastercard Bank arrives in the region. His heart tightens. For months, his clients have asked him the same question. Why don't I have that card? He has no answer. Bank of America won't share its network, losing clients daily. He isn't alone. All across the United States, small and medium-sized banks are suffocating. The steamroller of Bank Mastercard crushes everything. So, in the offices of Citibank and Chase Manhattan, the idea emerges. Create a countermeasure. A few months later, in a discreet New York hotel, curtains drawn, cigar smoke. Around the table, 150 bankers sit tense, aware they're fighting for survival. So they sign a pact. The Interbank Card Association is born, a fragile coalition, but united by the fear of being wiped out. This pact will create the Mastercard card with a red and yellow logo, 2 interlocking circles, symbolizing a promise to endure life's challenges. At first, everything seems trivial. Few merchants take the card, but one night at a New York hotel, a customer presents her Mastercard. The receptionist pauses, then accepts, and the transaction is approved. A simple gesture, but a historic moment. Visa is no longer alone, and a cold war of payments, where every innovation will become a strategic weapon, is about to begin. The 1970s are beginning. With an observation, Visa has a head start and Mastercard can't catch up directly, so it chooses another path. Rather than imposing, it infiltrates. At first, everything is slow. The card is printed on carbon paper. Payments are validated 2 days later. A system that is fragile, full of errors. Visa dominates, but Mastercard understands something. The one who makes the transaction reliable will earn the trust of merchants. So, it invests in an electronic network. In 1980, payments are processed in real time. It's a weapon in a revolution. One click, one authorization, Visa follows. But Mastercard has become the pragmatic innovator. In the 90s, it strikes again with Maestro, the first international debit card, then the alliance with Europay. The result is the birth of the Europay, Mastercard, and Visa chip. Each transaction will generate a unique code. Fraud decreases. This time, Visa must adopt its competitor's standard. Mastercard's strategy isn't to be the biggest, but the most agile. Let Visa lead innovation. Then take the lead in technology. Most importantly, build alliances with local banks, Europe, and governments. But Mastercard doesn't just want to be technical, it wants to speak to the general public. In 1997, it launched a campaign that became iconic. Priceless. Pizza with his son, $12. 2 movie tickets, $20 family time, priceless. A simple slogan, but a formidable weapon. Visa was selling a card, Mastercard now sells a lifestyle. While Visa centralizes and imposes, Mastercard moves forward differently. Flexible and diplomatic, it sets up where Visa gets rejected. In Europe, in Asia, in countries where the state is wary of American monopolies. This balance keeps it essential, always second, yet impossible to ignore. And yet, behind this success, a danger is growing because some countries refuse to play the game of the two giants. In France, a national network resists. In Russia, a new system is emerging. In China, a national giant is established. The payment Cold War extends past Visa and Mastercard. It's also the beginning of a battle with the states. In a Ministry of Finance office, an official slams his fist on the table. We're not letting the Americans control our payments. France creates its own network, Carte Bancaire, a fully French system enabling payments and withdrawals without using Visa or Mastercard. Over 95% of cards issued in France still display the Carte Bancaire logo. And every time you pay for your baguette or fill up your gas tank, there's a good chance it's Carte Bancaire that validates the transaction. Visa and Mastercard only take over when you leave the country. That's a detail that explains why France is one of the few countries in Europe to have slowed down their total domination. Russian tanks enter Crimea, the sanctions. Visa and Mastercard suspend some services when restrictions are imposed. Millions of Russians can no longer use their cards abroad, prompting an immediate Kremlin response. In a few months, it launches Mir, a fully national network. Initially, no one believes in it. In 2022, as the Ukraine war sparks new sanctions, Mir becomes the country's sole safety net. Currently, over 150 million cards are used in Russia, with Visa and Mastercard nearly entirely banned. China, on the other hand, didn't wait for the sanctions to build its empire. With UnionPay, it has created the largest card network in the world. 4 billion active cards accepted in 180 countries. A state-owned giant designed from the start as a counterweight to the Americans and strengthened by the Chinese digital ecosystem, Alipay, WeChat, Pay. A parallel world almost sealed off, where Visa and Mastercard are just extras. We can also talk about RuPay, a 100% Indian system launched in 2012, designed to reduce the country's dependence on American giants. In 2023, it made up over 70% of the country's digital payments. And it is even being exported to other countries like Singapore, the Emirates, and France. Recently, these examples show one thing. Payments are not just a business matter, it's a question of national sovereignty. Because whoever controls payments controls a part of the economy. And in a world where money circulates faster than ever, that's not the only danger for the American duopoly. Cook steps on stage and pulls out an iPhone. Apple Pay is announced. The audience applauds, media reacts, and people discuss the end of bank cards. But in the offices of Mastercard, no one panics. Behind every Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, or Stripe payment, there's still Mastercard and Visa. They all claim to reinvent payment, but they all end up connected to the Mastercard network. That's the discrete strategy of the red and yellow giant. Never destroy innovation, you have to absorb it. But a more radical threat is emerging: crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoin. A world where the middleman disappears, where payment goes from one wallet to another without going through Mastercard. By the way, if you're ever interested in blockchain, we have a channel dedicated to it. You'll find it in the description. So the group strikes back. It invests in blockchain, launches its own crypto payment solutions, and signs partnerships with exchange platforms. Instead of resisting, Mastercard aims to bridge the two worlds. But one question remains open. Can you be indispensable in a system that is designed to do without us? And then there's Africa, a young continent, a continent where everything still needs to be built, a continent where the card has never really been useful. A merchant sells vegetables, no terminal, no card needed. In short, message service lets customers pay with M-Pesa. In Africa, the main competitor to Mastercard is mobile money like Orange Money, MTN Money, and RTL Money. Hundreds of millions of customers who have never needed a plastic card. For them, the bank is their phone, their branch is their mobile operator. Why would they go through Mastercard? I was in Côte d'Ivoire recently, and I was amazed by a QR code payment system that is used everywhere by everyone. From the cleaning lady to the taxi in the shopping mall. The company infiltrates, signs deals with Safaricom, Orange, RTL, and launches virtual cards linked to mobile wallets. It offers the government to digitize social aid, taxes, and salaries. It launches a foundation that makes donations. But the risk is there. If Africa moves from cash to mobile payments, Mastercard could be bypassed. A whole continent might avoid using cards. Mastercard's paradox. Number 2 in the world, unavoidable, but always under pressure to survive. Visa from governments, big tech, cryptocurrencies, and now African mobile phones. An empire built in the shadows, but surrounded. So the big question is no longer Visa or Mastercard, but rather, can either of them still survive intact? In a world where governments and tech giants seek to build their own rails, Visa and Mastercard aren't just rivals anymore. They're struggling to stay the unseen gatekeepers of global commerce. And in this battle, being number 2 already means being a superpower. Mastercard changed our relationship with money, a bit like Klarna, the Swedish startup that popularized installment payments, but which unintentionally financially ruined an entire generation. As you can see in the video that's showing,